Hello, and welcome to It's Not That Bad, optimistic movie reviews for optimistic people. That's Chad Ekowitz.
And that's Simone LaRue.
I'm not doing it.
You're not feeling it? You don't like the game show hosting?
It's better when you do it. Like, I feel like I can't bring the joy. And we have a special guest today. Our Batman expert and dear friend in that order, Dan Watson.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast, Dan. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm going to apologize now. There might be a slight hum in the background of my audio this week to all of our listeners, and that's purely because my dad has chosen today to redo the bathroom downstairs.
What a joy.
So right now he's just grinding on tiles. I think it was the best time for him to do it when I was going to do a podcast.
Yeah, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I thought you were keeping bees all of a sudden.
That would be lovely, especially because all the bees are dying.
What a delightful hobby that would be.
So, for those of you who have never listened to this podcast before, we take 2 movies every week that didn't do so spectacularly, and we say very nice things about them because we're optimistic people. As millennials, people think we're all down and negative about things because the earth is on fire and avocado toast costs like $1 million. But that is not true. We're always happy. We're always upbeat because if we weren't, suicide would be a much higher priority on our list.
It should be anyway. It's a real epidemic.
I mean, what is on your to-do list? What number is suicide?
Oh my god. I mean, it depends on how things go in the next couple years.
Yeah.
So would you guys say it's like a proper, like, 25th or 26th thing, or?
It honestly depends on the hour.
I
mean,
that's true.
And academia could strike at any time.
And honestly, watching Batman vs. Superman, it did go up the list.
No, it wasn't that bad. It's literally the title. So
there you go. That's why we brought you in. So, I mean, that alludes to what movie you're doing, Simone. But just for the record, what spectacular film are you doing this week?
I will be covering Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
DOJ.
Tell the people what movie you're covering, Chad.
I don't know whether it's actually better or worse. I would definitely say it's one of those two.
It's a movie.
It's a film. I am doing Batman and Robin, Dawn of...
Honestly, a classic.
Confusing plastic armor. Lots of neon.
Everything they did was with the
That was most of
neon.
their budget.
It was neon and lycra, that was their budget. And plastic molding.
And butt and crotch shots for some reason.
I am obsessed with those butt and crotch shots, and I will defend them.
But it was very unnecessary.
Okay, but before we get into it, tell us what you're drinking.
Right, so I am drinking a craft beer called All for One.
Oh, fancy.
I know, from the Great British Brewing Co. It's a soft and light malt zingy taste with the aroma of Germanic hops and citrus with a touch of honey. And it comes in at a very cool 4.5%.
Oh, okay. So Dan and I are kind of double parking.
No, I'm not double parked anymore.
So I'm enjoying a nice Castle Light, classy.
Are you guys sponsored by SAB?
God, I wish. We're waiting for it.
Yeah, SAB, hit us up.
Which only comes in at 4%. But Dan and I are also drinking Old Brown Sherry, which I think comes in at 14?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's higher. If it's a sherry, it's just going to be higher.
It's definitely,
It's delightful.
So, I guess that means I go first.
It does, which I think is better, because let's be fair. We could be here for a couple of hours with your film.
Strap in.
Okay. We could do a whole episode of just this movie.
Oh, man.
But, okay.
I mean, you know how much we appreciate Zach Snyder.
Oh, God.
Fucking Zach Snyder.
Zach fucking Snyder.
He did make 300.
You know, I feel like that's counting for less and less these days. But we'll discuss him. Don't worry, we have a whole section where we discuss him.
Gerard Butler made that movie, to be fair.
True. Okay, so, brief plot synopsis. This movie takes place after Man of Steel, when Superman has become a controversial figure due to the havoc that his battle with General Zod wreaked in the city of Metropolis. This tension is magnified when Superman kills a whole base of terrorists indiscriminately in order to rescue Lois Lane, played by Amy Adams. Bruce Wayne, played by Ben Affleck, holds Superman especially accountable for the human lives lost, Oh, and Superman's played by Henry Cavill. Superman, in his capacity as journalist Clark Kent, is also critical of Batman, who often sees himself as above the law. Billionaire, genius, and businessman Lex Luthor, played by Jesse Eisenberg, sees Superman as a threat too, and attempts to recover the kryptonite lost from General Zod's ship, but his attempts are blocked by the US government. He does, however, have Zod's body and his old ship.
Yep.
Bribes.
Yep. We won't give him this rock, but we'll give him all this alien technology. What could go wrong?
That's fine. Well, if you think about it, it was the woman who denied him, but it was the man who allowed it, which says a lot about modern-day politics. But continue, please.
Anyway. While Clark is investigating Batman, Lois Lane discovers that the bullets used at the terrorist site she was rescued from are experimental military rounds supplied by LexCorp to private security. She discovers this too late. She discovers too late that the whole debacle was set up to make Superman look bad and bring him into question on an international scale. I say too late because as Superman enters Congress to go on trial for his supposed war crimes, an explosion wipes out the entire building. This, too, she finds out, was orchestrated by Lex Luthor to imply that Superman didn't care enough to save Congress. Batman is double pissed off now and decides that Superman needs to be taken down. Superman does some soul-searching but ultimately returns to Metropolis just in time to save Lois from her doom, which she was only thrown to in order to lure Superman to Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor says that he wants tyrants who see themselves as above the law to be taken out, so he tasks Superman with bringing him Batman's head. If Superman doesn't comply, Lex will have his mother, Martha, played by Diane Lane, killed. What follows is the inevitable Batman vs. Superman fight, where Batman has to use kryptonite to his advantage. Once it seems Superman's death is in his grasp, Superman implores him to save Martha, which happens to be the name of Batman's mother.
What? Mind
Wow.
Wait, their mother's both named Martha?
It's almost like they were born in a time when Martha was a very popular name. Anyway, this snaps Batman out of his rage. He races off to save Martha, while Superman confronts Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor has another plan up his sleeve, though, as he used Kryptonian technology to combine his DNA with that of the dead General Zod, and create Doomsday, a terrifying villain capable of destroying Superman. Batman and Superman team up with, surprise, Wonder Woman, played by Gal Gadot, to fight Doomsday. Ultimately, Superman needs to sacrifice his life to successfully kill the monster. It's very sad. He has a funeral. The movie ends with Lex in prison, vowing revenge, and Bruce Wayne... The movie ends with Lex in prison vowing revenge, and Bruce Wayne and Wonder Woman agree to recruit more superhumans into a team to protect humanity. The end. Or is it?
Did you know?
Here we go.
That Aquaman and Bruce Wayne's fathers have the same name as well. They're both Arthur.
What's John Smith?
No, not Arthur.
Thomas.
Thomas. Arthur.
Again, a very common name.
Yeah, Simone, please, when I'm dead and gone, and let's be honest, you're gonna outlive me.
When you
please,
die from prions,
let's find out.
Please, for all intents and purposes, at my funeral go, it's all very sad, he had a funeral. That is all I want.
Can we lower you into the theme of the Tetris game?
Yeah, of course you can. Of course,
That'd
that's
be
right.
great.
I'm
going to be so hammered at your funeral, Chad.
Oh man,
That's probably how you'd die.
That's actually a good idea, actually. It really sort of sorts out the benefits. If we have a drinking party at my funeral, like all of us together, drinking...
Not all of us, Chad.
No, I'm alive at the start of my funeral.
What?
No, whoa!
And then I die from alcohol poisoning, and that's why it's my funeral. So I invite you all to my funeral, where we get drunk until I die.
This sounds like a very dark comedy.
No, because then, like, every time we drink together, we have to drink
Yeah, you'd really ruin drinking for us, which I think maybe isn't fair.
I did that.
Look.
But it would be the only situation in which Simone can go, it's all very sad, they had a funeral. Because other than that, it just doesn't work. Do you think I should talk more about cannibalism now, or just leave it there?
No, go back to suicide.
These cheery topics.
Anyway,
so Dan, let's start with you as our honourable guest, because I mean, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, should I do a bit of background? Or...
Yes,
go for it.
Do
please.
Whatever you want.
It's like the most research any episode I've ever had.
No. So I'm a big Batman fan, right? Doesn't take much to entertain me. Actually, fun story. For my 21st, I had a superhero-themed party, and I came as Batman.
Obviously.
And then my friends, which included Chad and Simone, my close friends, surprised me by coming as Batman villains. I've still got that picture.
All of
So
us.
fun.
It was great. It was an awesome
We were
evening.
so stoked to do it.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool. You came as Harley Quinn, and I came as
The Penguin.
Penguin. Yeah.
You even had the monocle.
Yeah.
Which was, I think, like a spice cap lid or something.
No, I just got it from a really, really cheap costume place.
Beautiful.
Even better.
So, background on Batman vs Superman.
Batman. So the DCU, I think they obviously in competition with Marvel kind of thing. And Marvel's way ahead of them. They were doing movies about raccoons, and they hadn't even got started. So I think they were trying to go in big with they'd done Man of Steel, and Superman's an average character because there's not much to him. So they're trying to bring Batman in, and I think they just came in too fast.
Way too fast.
That movie should have been 2 movies, and they should have started the whole thing with a Batman movie like Iron Man.
Yeah.
And really got a cool character in that everyone knows and loves, and then done Superman movies and brought them all together and earned it. But they kind of rushed it. In my opinion. So not too much background is.
I mean, they essentially went backwards, right? They're doing the big group movies, and then they want to go back and do all the origin
into the
stories.
individuals, yeah.
And it's just not.
I don't know if it was pressured or they just thought it would work or whatever, but
they're just in a straight panic.
Yeah, I think when they realized, because obviously Batman has been going for years. It's an old thing. Starting with, is it Adam
West?
Adam West. I mean, he was one of the first Batmans, and so I think they always thought that superhero movies were going to be okay, but they weren't going to be big blockbusters. And then Iron Man hit, and it just completely changed the game. And DC didn't respond fast enough. And then this just feels like the DC's version of Civil War.
Yeah, but without the 15 movies leading up to it.
Exactly.
So for me, I think where it goes wrong is so Civil War, the fight is actually, it's 2 warring ideologies where, Iron Man doesn't think that they should be, controlled by, or Iron Man is the one who's we need more control, we need to work with governments and all that stuff, and Captain America's no, freedom and Bucky. And so, there feels like there's actual stakes in the fight because they're fighting for something. Whereas in this fight, Superman doesn't even want to fight. It's a little disappointing because the whole time you're no, don't fight!
What you doing?
You don't want anyone to win. And then on top of that...
Also, we cared about the characters in Marvel. We'd known them.
Because we know them.
Movies with other stories. And I was we actually... I mean, this very group here was torn between Team Cap and Team Iron Man. Team Cap. Anyway.
Cap all the way.
Team Iron Man. Fuck you guys.
We're not going to get into this right now. But, so, Superman's, whole internal conflict in this is, should I be helping others? Should I just focus on myself and do what I can? It's a whole war because obviously every time he helps people, other people die, and it's very upsetting, so he's, trying to come to terms with that. And, Batman is very much I'm gonna help others, but in my best interests.
Yeah.
But
and so they kind of agree. They're both struggling with the same thing, so you don't really have warring ideologies. They're both we're kind of above the law, but we're struggling with it emotionally.
Yeah.
But, they don't fundamentally disagree by the time they get to the fight.
Well, that's why they're friends in every other story. But also, it was a different Batman because this Batman kills, right?
Yeah,
which is
very
a
much.
big no-no for Batman. But we don't understand this because it went to previous movies.
Yeah.
They
But in the
backstory.
extended version does actually give you more depth and add to the story. But if it needs the extended version to do that, as you said,
it doesn't
It's a
work.
bad movie.
it's a shit film.
Yeah.
But that's what we're talking about.
But yeah, I mean, look, the only one who has an opposing ideology is Lex Luthor, and he's just got a massive daddy issue.
Yeah.
That is his thing.
But that wasn't even well explained. And also, I think they try to make Lex Luthor look like the smartest man in the world and give him this convoluted plot.
Yeah.
But the viewers aren't, and we don't know all they do because they're the writers.
Yeah, exactly.
So it kind of flopped. They could have done the same plot much simpler, and they would have the movie had glimpses where it really could have worked.
Yeah.
But it was too convoluted. I think that's where Marvel gets it right.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the DCU producers are listening. But
Oh yeah. Zack Snyder is always
Yes,
he's a friend.
They actually text us for
yeah,
answers.
please do.
Ben Affleck has been a friend to the podcast since the very first episode.
We'll get into Ben Affleck. I have a lot to say about him.
And I will defend him.
No, I'm with you.
I
Okay,
love him.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so there were glimpses. So it was like it was almost there.
Yeah.
And they had enjoyable moments.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
too convoluted and too like back and forth. And look how dark we are.
Yeah, and then
And
there's
look
like
how
a
different we are.
subplot with the military funding a rebel uprising.
Yeah.
Like that was unnecessary.
Like-
We didn't need to leave. You didn't need to leave Gotham. I liked how that like Gotham Metropolis were like across the bay from
That
each
was
other.
Yeah,
cool.
that was fun. And they
I
have
thought that was
opposing football
interesting.
teams.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
That was
I like that,
hilarious
because
they're like, oh,
They
you
got
know,
the shit kicked out of
they
them.
were just like, oh, you know that Gotham football team and how they are, and I'm just like, no, I don't. I really don't. No one
Exactly.
does.
But we would have if we knew the other movies. So yeah. So that was what I felt went wrong.
Yeah.
But I must say, my favorite parts were the action scenes were pretty cool.
The
Yeah,
action scenes were dope.
Where like Batman and Superman threw down.
yeah, that was
It was
dope.
very close to the comics as well.
Right.
Yeah, it was basically
Um,
lifted like from
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
comics.
Which is why it worked.
But it's worth noting, in the comics, the reason that they fought is because Superman was very much like on the side of the government and he
Yeah.
was happy to work with the government, and Batman wanted to stay rogue.
Right.
So the government essentially sent Superman after Batman to take him down because of like he represented
Yeah.
a threat. So that made a much more credible fight scene
No,
than like
Whatever this
the fuck happened
Who's
here.
Is that famous comic writer?
George Miller.
Alan Moore.
No, it wasn't
No.
him. It was the
What
guy
is-
who actually wrote
George
300
Miller
Sin City.
wrote-
Alan Moore.
What was it?
No, man, it was George Miller.
Was it?
I'm
I do
gonna
not
Google
recognize
it.
his
I'll
names.
Google it.
Anyway,
I'll
yeah, on
Google
that
it.
story, there's a big animated movie about
Mhm.
it. The return of Batman. Oh shit, I can't remember. There are too many. What? The animated Batman movies? They could have just copied them.
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller.
Thank you.
Why
yes,
did
it
I
was
want to
Frank
say
Miller.
George?
He wrote that comic, and yeah, it was an older Batman.
Yeah.
He had like gone into retirement, and then something brought him back out,
Mhm.
and then the government got upset because they'd all made a deal that the superheroes would bugger off, basically.
My question for you guys, and it sort of falls to the one of the main plots of this film, is when has when has Superman ever used bullets? Like, is there any point where he has used bullets? Yeah.
Superman.
When did he use bullets?
Well, that was the government cover-up. That was Lex Luthor's cover-up. When?
No, they burnt the bodies.
Yes, but that doesn't get rid of bullets.
It does in the middle of a third world, unknown, unspecified African country.
But yes, you're right. One
But they were
coroner would have
prototype
looked at the
rounds.
bodies and been like, "Oh, they
Yeah,
didn't die from
they-
being burned by
Maybe
a
they
laser."
had magnesium in them and they burnt it and it
That's
set them off.
distinctly not true, though, because
I-
we
we
know
don't know because there
no
weren't
one
other
recovered
movies.
The bullet.
The point is
That was the one from the book.
that no one investigated
Which
this.
randomly
Okay, so when
happened.
does the magnesium
I
ignite?
don't
Dan?
know.
No one investigated this. They were just like, Superman did this. He fucking just did all of this for Lois Lane. He shot people, which is very uncharacteristic, but that's fine. He definitely did this. This is all his fault. So the whole premise of the movie makes no sense.
So
No,
all of
it's
this could have
short.
been.
Also, we have it all on drone footage because we're watching the bastards and it's CIA in on them.
Also, like,
That's why
it could have been derailed by one single coroner being like, "Oh no, they were shot. Like, it wasn't
Yeah.
Superman." That's it. That's all they
But
had to
I
do.
think in defense of Zach,
Ugh, we
I
never
wouldn't
defend
go.
that.
You don't have to
The,
bend over backwards defending Zach.
I'll try. Someone does. Everyone was pretty primed against Superman already because, like, he
After
kind of saved the
Metropolis,
world in the end of
yeah.
Man of Steel,
Yeah.
but he destroyed the city. So collateral damage is like a huge thing. So he saved people, but people died. They didn't really
Mhm.
care how they died. I mean, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
People don't look at the facts.
Yeah. But, I mean, he also stopped an airstrike on the exact same compound, which to me is confusing, because it's like, well, the government was going to kill everybody in that compound
Yeah, including
anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
like, and now
Yeah.
they're like, oh, he's such a monster, and it's like, yeah, but you guys do airstrikes all the time.
But the difference was they're government sanctioned, so it's fine. It's not a vigilante doing
It's not
them.
genocide if it's sanctioned by the government.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I was saying earlier. Like, if the whole Lex Luthor arc was a little less complicated,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't have these discussions, right?
Yeah.
I don't think complicated is the right word. I think dumb is the right word.
Someone wrote
Like-
it out. There was actually a review, and as you say, on paper it was dumb. Like,
It's
I don't know how
really-
someone wrote it. Be like, I got it. This is going
That's
to
Zack
work.
Snyder, though.
That is Zack Snyder at his heart. So what did we like about this movie? Because we're dogging on it pretty hard for good reason.
Ben
But we
Affleck
should,
is actually a great Batman.
Yes.
I agree.
Everybody gives him
Can't
shit,
disagree.
but watching it again, he's really suave as Bruce Wayne when he needs to be.
the grin.
Like, he's a little, like...
He's a bit of cocky.
He's
I
a
felt
silver fox.
something. Like,
Did you?
and then
He's a
there's that
silver fox.
workout scene. I mean, everybody felt something.
Oh, man.
In that scene.
I think God
he-
the desk was bolted
He
down.
gained something like 20 pounds of weight, and he went down to 8% body fat for this role.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So he worked out like a fucking machine, and it shows. He looks amazing.
Yeah.
I think he was a great Batman.
Yeah, I agree, and I hate that people, like, made fun of him and stuff, and it was like, there was a meme that I saw that it was like, oh, Chris Hemsworth in his preparation for Thor, and Iron Man in his preparation, Robert Downey Jr. in his preparation for Iron Man, and they're all, like, working out, and then it's like, Ben Affleck's preparation for Batman, and he's eating a cheeseburger, and I was like, that's unfair.
No, he looked amazing.
He could kill you.
Yeah. No, he looked great.
Like the actor. Yeah. No, I agree. I like the casting.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
so
it's just the
point-
script that
I,
was...
yeah, the script was
horrendous.
disastrous.
And some...
The point I wanted
Yeah.
to bring out is Batman as a movie, there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
pressure on it, because we'll discuss it in a bit, but like back in the 90s, 80s, like Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, those movies were pretty decent, but you know, we didn't have CGI, we didn't have like all those effects, so that's not the same, it does age. And then we'll leave Batman and Robin for later. But then, so no one really took superhero movies seriously until like Iron Man. But then Christopher Nolan nailed it.
That was
Yeah.
the issue.
He did something beautiful, and it was amazing, and it kind of went a little bit wobbly at the end, but it was still decent. And so that now all of a sudden, Batman's like a pop culture character.
Yeah.
Really, like everyone wants to be Batman, but I was the first.
Dan liked Batman before it was cool.
Basically, everything I do is trying to lead me into being Batman. But anyway, I'm just like one crucial ingredient, which is a lot
Look,
of
you're
money.
closer than all of us.
But,
Dad, you were like this close to discovering the cure for malaria. Then you're gonna get sponsorships, you're gonna get TV deals, you're gonna win the Nobel Prize, and then we're gonna buy that island and hunt people, and then you're gonna become Batman.
And then you'll just hunt people for
and
sport.
by 82, when that's all I have. Yeah, so I think there's a massive like pressure on the Batman role. So I think everyone was really like primed to be critical on it, and then it was a really average to shit depending where you stand movie. And so it just got hated on even more.
Yeah.
Also, the trailers killed that movie before they had a chance to go, because the first trailer was amazing. It was like, do you bleed? I'm not going to try the voice.
Yeah.
Something you got to work on. And then the second trailer, we got a little bit more. And then they stuffed it up because they basically revealed all the twists and turns and the whole storyline in the third trailer. Or it might have actually been the second, and then the third one was, anyway, by showing Doomsday. And I was like, well, now we know.
Exactly what's going
This
to
isn't
happen.
really Batman vs Superman, is it? Is it, Zach?
Zach.
So can we discuss how gorgeous Alfred is? That dude is hot.
If he were my
Talking about Silver
butler,
Fox,
it would be
right.
a problem.
Jesus.
Jeremy,
I wanted him to be Batman.
Oh, and
Fuck Ben
he's got a
Affleck.
very solemn face too. Like,
Oh, he was such a good casting for Alfred.
Yeah.
Like, nailed
him and
it.
his mechanical engineering
No,
degree,
but
apparently.
to be fair, in the comics,
Yeah, right?
that's comic book science at work.
Yeah, that's
Everyone
true.
could
It's comic book
do
science.
everything. Like, that just happened.
Yeah.
But to be fair, we don't know. Alfred has a sullied past, I feel.
Mm.
Right? Like, I think he's seen
He's
some
lived
shit.
a lot.
Because he is guided Batman. Right? That requires some advanced knowledge.
Yeah, most butlers would have.
So
quit
I
by
really,
now.
really, yeah, no, I mean, you've got to be a bit like,
I'm
whacked.
out. Can't do this anymore.
This is
You're a
weird.
fucking crazy dude.
All I had to do
Why
was
do
make
you
a good
think-
Eggs Benedict, and that was
There's
it.
guano all over my workstation. I don't know.
Why
Bats
do you
are
think
everywhere.
that you can do this? You are just a man who has a lot of money. Why do you keep going out at night and fighting bad guys who have knives and guns?
That's
What
the
is
easy
going
bit.
on?
Some of them
You
are
know
like
what?
crocodiles and shit.
Your biggest enemy is a fucking psych patient with a penchant for clowns. What is happening? Fuck this. I'm moving back to England.
Yeah, I hate everyone. Goodbye.
Yeah. My life has been threatened multiple times today, and I can't deal with the pressure. But it's fine because they're comic book. So we're talking about good things. I think they got the casting right.
Yeah.
I mean, Henry Cavill's a great Superman.
He's so
Gal
handsome
Gadot
as
is a
well.
fantastic Wonder Woman.
Okay.
She's just a
okay.
fantastic.
I did love
person.
the introduction to Wonder Woman
And
too
they
in
did
this.
bring
I thought
like
it
the
was
hint
great.
at like
Yeah.
Aquaman and Flash.
Yeah,
And
I think they could have
Cyborg
left
was
the dream
decent.
sequences out of it.
Yeah,
Like,
Oh, the dream
I-
sequence.
it's
stop
could've
assuming you're gonna have a sequel.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was definitely leading to something else. But that's why you do it over multiple movies.
Yeah, it was so dumb having that all in.
I loved the fact for this one that for some reason Superman got discovered less to be Clark Kent than Batman was Bruce Wayne. Like, everyone knew that Batman was Bruce Wayne, but still no one could figure out that Superman was Clark Kent. Even at the end, when Superman dies, and at the same time Clark Kent dies,
Yeah.
everyone's just like, oh, well, those are two separate people, everything's
Or
fine.
maybe the bit where Superman, like, murders everyone to rescue Lois Lane.
Yeah.
And no one's like, hey, why does he like you so much? Where's Clark been? Like,
what?
Hey, Clark, you dropped your glasses. Oh my god.
hey, Clark, how do you feel about Superman having such a huge crush on your girlfriend?
It makes no sense, and it's amazing, and I love that.
But that's a comic book flaw.
Yeah,
Well, that's
I mean,
canon.
you see
It's
that.
canon.
That doesn't
it's
mean it's
canon.
right.
That's
They should change
Superman's.
it. Like, that's what let Justice League down as well. I know you guys did it.
Yeah, we
listened
did
to that
Justice
episode.
League.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, in the end of the day, Superman just outshadowed everyone, right?
Yeah, he's
And it
too
was like-
strong.
But that's just because he's OP.
Yeah, he should have dropped the power level, and it would have been a different movie. There would
Yeah.
have been, like, suspense in the final scene. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's not get into that,
Anyway.
right?
So, what's your scene that could have saved it, dear friends?
Lord.
Well, I
I
mean,
think that whole Lex Luthor scene when Superman confronts him, right? If the plot had been less shit, or less, as I said, it felt like there were too many cooks, right?
yeah,
There were too many people involved, and I think when those like with the Russo brothers and was it Kevin Feige, right? Am I
Yeah.
getting that right? I think they have top safe. So if someone says, "Why don't we do this?" They can tell them to bugger off,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they'll bugger off. I don't think that happens in DC.
No, the
No.
producers have the
And
final
huge-
for
say.
better or for
huge
worse, I mean, we
involvement.
don't know. Maybe they had crap out.
Also, I mean, Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder, right?
fucking
He
Schneider.
did his best.
No, he didn't. He doesn't do his
um,
best. He's never done his best, Dan. Stop defending Zack Schneider.
I like your hand.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, yeah, alright. But yeah, so like I also
He is the devil.
liked exactly, and I'm his advocate. I also liked I liked Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I did not hate it.
I didn't. Yeah, it didn't suck. Well, it did.
Yeah.
But also, someone had a good theory that this Lex Luthor, because it's not like the comics at all, right?
Yeah.
But this would be
No.
like if Lex Luthor from the comics had a son, this is what
Yeah.
he would. This is what he'd
Yeah.
be like.
Yeah.
And I really
Baby
did
Lex.
dig that, and they could have really like run with it.
Mm.
So I think the scene that could have saved it, they
Yeah.
could have brought the whole thing together. All this, if they just had a simpler background plot, and also if they'd expanded on Batman, why? Because
Yeah,
he was
I was gonna say that.
he was hunting people. He'd brand people, and then they get killed in prison. So he was killing people, but it was like in a cruel, dark way, which isn't Batman.
Yeah. I mean, so we know that there's. I'll just launch into my
Yeah,
scene
go
that
for
could
it.
have saved it from
That's
there.
that's it for me.
So we know
Yeah.
that he's got a lot of history because he mentions the Joker. We know he's already fought the Joker, and we know that what's
Yeah,
the movie
so
with
we
the
also know
where the
Robin-
Joker kidnaps Robin?
A Red Hood, Under the Red Hood.
Under the Red Hood.
And
So
is
we
it-
know from Under the Red Hood that the Joker kidnaps Robin at one point and basically tortures him to death. And that's the Batman that we're dealing with. And we know that because we've read the comics, but you don't really get that context
Because they're not multiple movies.
because there aren't multiple movies. So I'm saying instead of those dream sequences that contributed nothing and were ultimately useless, like have flashbacks, like go back to a time where Batman
Yes.
was more idealistic and more willing to work with the law, and then he just dealt with this like chaotic evil person who killed someone that he really
Yeah.
cared about.
Like the
That he
sun.
loved.
Exactly. And like then it makes so much more sense why he's so mad about like Superman and like how
Yeah, you see something that could be as bad as
Yeah.
threats.
Yeah, and I know
you
they
react
probably would have
accordingly.
gotten to that story
That's all you
eventually.
had to say.
But like literally all they need to do is replace his dream sequence with
Yeah.
flashback sequence and like would have been amazing.
That's good.
It would have been life changing because it would have made
Exactly.
sense why he was
Because
so
we didn't even
grizzled.
know. I mean, we still don't really know that he was that grizzled, and still very confusing
Yeah.
as to like where he is
We're
sitting.
only using random context clues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like delving very deep into something.
Exactly.
Even the extent of it, and then he like swaps back, right? And it's like, but we don't know
Yeah.
where he was in the first place, so we can't really appreciate where he gone.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Like there was no you're
we
starting in the middle of the character arc, so you don't know
No.
what the development
so
is.
it was clearly a
Yeah.
jumping point. That's why they had the dream sequences and all the like the hints to this, but it fucked up.
You can do it for Spider-Man in Homecoming because we've already had 2 separate movies explaining his origin. So it's fine to jump in mid-character there. Here, we know Batman's origin
really
story, but we have no idea why he's
Yeah.
crazy. And you can't do that. As Dan has said, we needed multiple movies before this to explain
Yeah.
it.
Especially if I have to watch another fucking sequence of his parents getting murdered.
No, I like that. Not the murdering
Oh,
part.
Oh my god,
Have
we
some
know.
respect for the dead.
We
No.
know.
They also needed to remind you that his mother's name was Martha. But I liked how they did it, actually. It was quick, it was brief. You
And
know,
that shot
that
with
flashback
the,
was fun, with the pearls.
with the pearls was
Because the
great.
pearls are
yeah.
actually in the comics, the pearls are a very strong metaphor.
Oh.
Because when he's sitting there with his folks, if I'm wrong, bigger bat fanatics
Sure.
can fight me for it, but I am bigger than you.
Dan's bigger than you.
He in the comic, in one of the comics, he sees the pearls and his tears mix. He doesn't know which one's falling into the puddles at one point.
Oh.
So like the pearls are very strong metaphor in his story.
Oh, wow.
So I think that was a homage to that.
Lovely.
So I like that scene.
Okay.
But I did not
And
need
then,
to watch
and
it.
then it deteriorated. But you had to have it. Because if you
You
didn't,
don't.
they would have brought it up.
You
No,
don't.
you did.
Fuck
It
off.
wasn't well
Everybody
made.
knows how Batman's parents die. Everybody knows. That's
No,
like
but
the
you
one thing
remember
everybody
some
knows
weird
about Batman.
nerds.
No, but that's what everybody knows. Nolan established it. We all know. That's why Spider-Man Homecoming didn't have to show us, or Spider-Man didn't have to show us fucking him being bitten by a radioactive spider. We fucking know.
Everyone knows. You don't need to know that.
Just
Everyone
get
knows
with
that
it.
Batman's an orphan. Like, everyone.
Yeah.
A
What's
very rich one.
what's your scene that could have saved it?
Sorry.
Dad and I are getting so emotional.
Sorry if I'm talking too much. Tell me to shut up.
I'm gonna be really lame about it, and I'm gonna say that the whole reason why Batman didn't kill Superman needs to change. No one in
Yes.
their right mind, if they have
Yeah.
a vendetta and they're about to kill you, no one's just gonna go, oh, I'm not gonna kill you anymore because you said my mother's name. That's probably gonna make me
Yeah.
want to kill you more.
No, alright, I'm gonna play advocate, right? To the bench. But Batman is very, very, very sensitive about his parents, obviously. But to the point where, like his password into the Batcave is the time they were shot on the clock, right?
Christ.
So everything he does is
Dude needs some
obsessive.
therapy.
This
Obsessed
man
with
really
that.
needs a
Yeah.
therapist.
He needs to go
So, but we didn't know. I think we're way past therapy, right? The guy is literally just a madman with a lot of money in a bad outfit, right? I put on a bad outfit and I'm a risk to the public. But anyway, yeah. So, but it was weak
It's
sauce,
very
right?
weak
Because
sauce.
even as you say, I like the idea of something snapping him out of it.
But not that.
And like the parents' scene wasn't a bad idea, but his mother's name was a bit.
It was such a lame way to do it. I'm not saying don't have it
Yeah.
that way, but basically just either have, in my mind it would have been better if Superman was just like, mercy, please don't kill me, and then Batman's like, oh, well you're not really a god anymore, please help me, and then
Yeah.
they team up.
Or like, yeah.
That would have also been pretty weak. But I see your point. It would have been better. So I don't know. Maybe just like have stopped once you've beaten. I see what actually. Yeah. So I see what you mean. Just have stopped and been like, just remember that someone
Yeah.
can actually stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole fight scene was pretty cool.
Or if they'd gone back
Absolutely.
into the history of how Robin died, Superman could be like, "Oh, maybe this is how Robin felt."
Oh.
Or like, you know,
But he wouldn't
like
have known who
go
Robin
into
is.
that history. Well,
Even so,
I mean, it probably would have been pretty common knowledge because Batman mentions the Joker when he's talking to Clark Kent earlier on. He's like, well, as you know, in Gotham, we don't take kindly to people running around dressed as clowns.
yeah.
So clearly the Joker's common knowledge. Probably the death of Robin is fairly common knowledge.
Yeah.
It would have been
So if
equally
he
funny.
mentioned
it might not
Robin,
have been.
Then that would have
because
tied it all in.
Robin actually died in another country. In the comic book.
Oh, yeah.
It would have
Yeah, they went.
It would have been really, really great, actually, thinking about it now, and now that you've brought that up, and putting about 5 minutes more work into it than Zach Snyder probably did, was if Batman's about to stab him, and Superman goes, "You're a dick," and then Spider-Man's like, "Why did you say that name? Dick Grayson! Dick Grayson!" And then
Dick
he,
Grayson's
like,
not the
stops.
one who gets murdered.
It's Jason Todd,
Shh.
but I like your attitude. Also,
I
you
like
called him
We don't need-
Spider-Man instead of Batman.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Not
Chad's always
bad.
just obsessed with Spider-Man.
I know. Spider-Man to you, Batman to me.
Look, there's 3 things that matter in my life, and that's Spider-Man,
Cannibalism.
John Hamm, and cannibalism.
I'm gonna make that a t-shirt.
Yeah.
John Hamm is amazing.
To Chad,
Oh.
John Hamm is like the pinnacle of all that is
Is that who you
handsome
wanna
and charming.
be?
If you had asked me who Superman should be cast as, it's John Hamm. If you had asked me who Batman should have been cast as, you guessed it, it's Batman.
It's John Hamm.
If you had asked me
He can
who
play
Lex
all
Luthor
the
should
roles.
have
He
been
could
cast
literally
as-
be any superhero, you
So-
guys.
So yeah, so that was the scene that disappointed everybody, right? Because it was really cool,
Right.
and then it was really
And then
lame.
lame.
And then you can't really,
Oh.
nothing could really happen after that.
I would like to do an honorable mention to the "Do you bleed? You will" line, which in the trailer sounds really fucking cool. But then in the
Yeah.
movie, he goes, "Do you bleed?" And Batman flies off, and he goes, "You will." Like
Yeah,
it's so lame.
It sounded like a kid who'd been put down.
It's so lame.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "No,
I'm gonna
your
get
mom
you
will."
right.
You
later.
better run. And
Yeah.
that was some shitty
It
editing.
was really badass because he like stepped out of the car and
Yeah.
like, faced him down.
Do you bleed? Yeah.
And then he got like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah."
Okay, so shall we do a bad film or bad director?
Yeah, tell me about Zach Snyder.
We have spoken about Zach Snyder so
Ugh.
many times on this fucking
What has that
podcast.
Schneider done?
So as we know, he directed 300 and
The Prison.
Watchmen, which
Watchmen was great.
that's the reason, like, the last couple times we've covered his movies, we've said he's not a bad director.
No, he is.
But I'm gonna say that all that means is that he has not directed a good movie since 2009.
Wow.
So for
that's
10 years.
years.
He has not directed
how
a
old
single
are
good
we?
movie. So I'm gonna change it to
Yeah.
bad director. Zack
Yeah.
Snyder should not be allowed anywhere near DC. He needs to chill. And also, the only reason 300 and Watchmen were good were because they were already established comics. He literally
Yeah.
had
These
scene
are
for
established
scene to go
comics.
off. Yeah, but he keeps
Yeah.
adding his own shit to it.
I don't know if
He
it's
got
just him.
too
though,
much
'cause
hubris.
Apparently,
He
like,
is
Warner
Icarus.
Brothers also like.
And also,
part of-
let's all
of this.
remember, he wrote Sucker Punch.
Oh no.
Like, Sucker Punch was what he
I
did
haven't actually
when he
seen
was
it,
allowed
I've
to
seen
do his own stuff.
This is what happens when you take our eyes off you.
Yeah, like,
Sucker Punch. No, I haven't
that
seen it.
was Zack Snyder with creative direction, and it was a shit
It
show.
wasn't really creative, nor in any particular direction.
It was
No.
very
But-
creative. It was incredibly creative because how many scenes can you make women look like innocent schoolgirls? Like, that's the
A lot,
impressive thing
apparently.
about
That's
Sucker
true.
Punch.
Let's
That's true.
not play that game. Nobody comes off well.
So yeah, I've got to agree with you, Simone. Let's retire Zack Schneider. He's
Yeah.
clearly
He's
pulling...
cancelled.
Yeah, he's clearly pulling a George
Now
Lucas.
it's official.
You were here for this historic moment, Chad.
Yeah, this is it. You'll never see another Zack Snyder movie. He's done.
I probably wouldn't anyway, but
True.
Oh, you'll have to. He'll be doing everything DC forever.
so actually, the way to fix the DCU, right? The big thing is the Flashpoint paradox. But
Yeah.
they need to do a Flash movie before they do Flashpoint. For those of you who don't know, Flashpoint paradox.
Oh,
was,
it's so good, you
if-
guys.
if you get a chance to watch the animated movie, best DC animated movie.
It's so good.
Side note, the DC animated movies are some of the best
They're really
I've ever
good.
seen. They're
They're
really,
really
good. They're
good.
short and there's no pressure.
If you want
because
a
no one
good Batman movie, the
there's
DC
so
animated
many.
movies,
They've
and a
actually
good
created a
Suicide Squad
universe.
movie, yeah,
All they had to do for Suicide Squad was copy.
follow the movie.
All they had to do, and then anyway.
We won't go to Suicide Squad. We'll never end
Not
this
again.
podcast.
So I heard the cool theory was that. So yeah, that's the Flashpoint. So Flash goes back in time to save his mom,
Mhm.
and when he comes back, because the DC love alternate universes, he's changed the universe slightly. I'm not going to spoil anything,
Yeah.
but that's what they're going to, and there's some really cool character
Especially
arcs there.
because Jeffrey Dean
Mhm.
Morgan plays Thomas
Yeah.
Wayne, and he would be a great Dark Batman.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, okay. Thanks for that spoiler.
it's not that much.
But
of a spoiler.
yeah, okay. No, fair enough. One of the things is that it's actually Thomas Wayne that survived the mugging.
The shooting.
Yeah.
And
Bruce and
And
Martha
Bruce,
die.
No, Martha lived.
Oh yes, shit. Yeah.
But Bruce died, which forced him into the life of Batman, right? But he uses guns and stuff, and
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dean
He's
Morgan is
would have been
such
perfect
a
for that.
badass
He would
actor.
have been so
Would have
good.
nailed it.
Yeah.
I think they'll still do it.
I think
So
I want them to.
they're going to use that as a big reset button. But all they
Yeah.
need to do is get rid of the Zack Snyder movies.
Yeah.
And we'll be
Because
all
pretend
good.
they
Wonder
didn't
Woman was
happen.
great. Aquaman was
Fine.
It was decent. It was very flashy though.
Even Justice League was not that bad.
It wasn't good.
The ending was
Right.
terrible, but the rest of it was
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
They need to drop, and when you reset it, they need to drop Superman's power. They could have
Like
easily
what
done
they
it when
did
he
with
came back
X-Men.
to life.
Yeah.
Let's not go to X-Men. Right?
No, we're
No,
not
but I'm
talking.
saying like what
back
they
to
did with the X-Men universe. They were just like,
That whole movie was a
none of
reset
that happened.
button.
It's cancelled.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk Days of Future Past does, because even that title angers my soul.
It took me so long to memorize it. Anyway, so I think they're going to reset it.
I hope they do.
And that's why, I don't know if we're going to talk about it now, but there's a
Robert
bit of new...
Pattinson?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll talk about it
Batman
at the
card.
end. I'm very excited about
We will talk about it at
hearing
the end.
some thoughts.
But, well done, Simone.
Thanks. Okay, Chad,
Now, we could
tell
be here
us
a long time.
Tell us about Batman and Robin, because
Oh, man.
honestly loved this movie. I loved it.
This movie... This movie, I don't understand this movie at all.
Me neither.
I have not had such a big smile on my face watching a movie
We watched
for
it about
such a long
an hour
time.
ago.
I was like this. I was like...
Everything about it shouldn't work, but somehow it is fucking amazing. Alright, here we go.
Now, you thought the plot to Batman vs Superman was convoluted. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, this is a very short plot line because it makes no sense.
Okay, tell us about it.
The film opens with Batman, played by George Clooney, and Robin, played by Chris O'Donnell, being alerted to a museum robbery. They go off to investigate. Turns out that the robber is one Mr. Freeze, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who will be the main villain of this film.
Love it.
He is stealing massive diamonds from wherever he can in order to build a machine that will keep him alive long enough to find a cure for his wife. You see, Mr. Freeze was once a prolific scientist named Dr. Victor Freeze. His wife got sick with an incurable disease. While trying to figure out the cure, there was an accident which essentially turned Dr. Freeze cold-blooded and I guess sort of icy. He has no powers. He's essentially a lizard.
Are we going to go with the ice puns in the podcast?
No, we'll get into it. He now needs the diamonds to power his suit so he can kind of stay alive and, stay cold. If he heats up, he will die.
Sure.
So, Batman and Robin fight Mr. Freeze and his goons, but they end up winning and walk away with a large diamond. Meanwhile, we meet Dr. Pamela Isley, played by Uma Thurman, who is sharing a lab with a mad scientist. What she is trying to do is breed plants that produce venom similar to that of poisonous animals, thus allowing them to defend themselves from humanity. She has some serious gripes with human beings and what they're doing to the planet, you see. This crazy scientist that she shares the lab with has been developing a serum called Venom. This will enhance a person's strength. He will then sell this Venom to the highest bidder. He succeeds and creates Bane, played by Jeep Swenson. Not kidding, that is his name. Bane then kills the crazy scientist.
Sure.
But somehow Dr. Isley is involved and she is buried alive with her plants and the venom. She comes back as Poison Ivy and enlists Bane's help in order to kill Batman and Robin and then destroy humanity. There is some infighting between Batman and Robin because Batman doesn't trust Robin and they are also both under essentially what amounts to hypnosis from Poison Ivy. Throughout the movie, Batman has to learn that to trust Robin or risk losing him. In the meantime, Alfred, played by Michael Gough, is dying of the same disease Mr. Freeze's wife is dying of. But, unlike her, he is in the early stages of the disease, which Freeze has actually learned to cure. Alfred's niece, Barbara, played by Alicia Silverstone, has come over from the UK to bring him back to the UK. Shenanigans unfold. There are lots of terrible ice puns, and Poison Ivy is able to convince Mr. Freeze to join her team in order to destroy humanity.
And plant puns.
Oh, the plant puns are also great.
They're very sexual.
But that's because Uma Thurman is trying to be sexual in the weirdest way.
But she succeeded.
I disagree.
I
really
only
like,
ever
attractive.
want to ask a man to tend my garden.
Or sow your oats.
So my wild
great.
oats.
Nice to meet you. Anyway, back to the... Let's do this, and then let's finish this off, and then we'll do that. They will use their...
Sorry. This is so much.
They will use the new Gotham telescope, the most powerful telescope in the world, to freeze the entire population of Gotham and then the world. In the final scenes, Batman and Robin are in some serious trouble. It looks like they're going to lose because Poison Ivy is too strong for them. But luckily, Barbara has discovered the Batcave, and Alfred has designed a bat suit for her. She now becomes Batgirl and defeats Poison Ivy. All three of them take on Mr. Freeze, and they beat him. Batman pleads with Freeze to give him the formula to save Alfred, which Freeze agrees to. Then Batman says he'll move Freeze's lab to Arkham so that he can work there to find a cure for his wife. The three form a superhero team and learn to trust each other because they are family. The end.
Can I just say, what really set the tone for this whole movie was the scene where Batman and Robin are getting ready, and it's just close-up shots of crotches, nipples, butt.
Like proper butt shots, right? Like That was the opening scene.
I was
right?
saying
They
that
were ready to go.
this is equality, because they're not just sexualizing the women in this.
No,
They're
it's
sexualizing
meant
the
to.
men too.
Everyone.
Which is a big problem in this superhero.
Yes.
All the women are like
Super
scantily clad,
hypersexualized.
and then the men are
Yeah.
heavily armored.
Yeah,
And it's
but
okay.
here they're like,
No one
no,
says a
look
thing.
at these butts.
So
What I loved about this, it just, the whole film feels like the weirdest fever dream that you've ever had.
Yeah.
Like, from the opening scene, it's literally just like non-stop neon coloring,
Oh, so
fast
much neon.
shots,
Ice hockey.
So much neon.
and a guy who's dressed in a giant metal suit that goes and says things like, put him on ice. And his puns are so bad, they don't even make sense half the time.
But it's also
I'm
Cool.
cool.
it's
Magic.
the Terminator.
I think Arnie had too much fun filming that. I think out of
Well
everyone,
deserved.
he was like, this isn't going to work, but I'm gonna have some fun. And he just, while he
Had
was
a great
sitting there
time.
getting all the makeup put on him,
Mm.
Oh
like,
man.
I mean, he was a lot further away than we thought, because there was just like layers
It's-
of shit on his face.
Yeah.
It's so funny because his acting is so bad in this film.
But you don't notice
Like,
it.
he's not a very strong actor. No, you notice how bad this acting is in
Not
this
compared.
film,
Oh,
Dan.
yeah, fair.
But can we also just speak about how bad George Clooney is?
George
in
Clooney
this?
has
He did
consistently
nothing.
apologized for this role.
No, but
It's worth noting he still apologizes for playing Batman to
Well,
this day.
Well, to be fair, that's not really an out, right? Because he still played it, and if he said no, it was a great movie, he wouldn't
Yeah.
get any more work, right? Because he'd obviously
That's
insane.
true.
But
I mean,
So
Tom
obviously he
Cruise
has to say-
keeps getting brought onto movies.
Tom Cruise is a different fish, right?
Tom Cruise is obviously nuts.
And if you're listening, Tom, I'm sorry.
I have a fun movie fact about Tom Cruise that I'll bring up later.
I'm so excited to hear it. But yeah, George Clooney was a bit of a nightmare in this, I must say. There was just nothing to him, I felt.
Yeah.
Like, he was just kind of
Didn't really care.
there.
Yeah,
And to be fair, Batman wasn't even like a big thing in this film.
no.
Robin and Batgirl did more
Yeah.
than Batman did in
For
this.
sure.
Look, also remember, this is, and this will make you feel old, 22 years ago, right? It was released.
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
I mean, we're young, but holy shit.
look at how young everybody looks in this. Though.
Oh my
Like
God,
Uma
they were
Thurman,
babies.
it's amazing.
everybody just looks like a giant baby.
I'm pretty sure the guy who plays Alfred is dead now.
Oh, 110%.
Yeah, I guarantee. Next to Bruce's parents.
Honestly, like
Yeah.
before we found out that Alfred was sick, the whole time we were like, somebody get him a chair. Like
Oh,
he
no.
looks like he's
like
gonna
80 and
die
he's gonna
any
dust
minute.
the fucking mansion.
Like, why are you letting him work?
This is illegal.
Yeah, like Barbara has some really good points with
Yeah.
that when she's
But
like,
to-
he's clearly a prisoner.
But to be fair, he does it to like help the
Yeah.
Bat family.
He's
that's
clearly
not a really
very
great
fond
The
of
Bat family.
helping Batman in this movie,
Um,
which, as Dan has pointed out, is not canon. Alfred is notoriously against
Yes.
the Batman.
so, but he's still
Yeah.
like the willful servant, right? And he still like cares for
Yeah.
him. And he can,
Yeah.
I think he sees that he can't actually persuade Bruce Wayne to stop it.
Mm.
So he kind of tries to keep him alive and
Yeah.
patch him up and make sure he eats and stuff like that and make sure he's the best. You know, goes through the rabbit hole. But yeah, like he in the movie he does say like he supports it, but in a lot of comics that's not right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I must say that a lot of the characters, their origins to the comics matched. Even just like I didn't know all of them, but a quick Wikipedia search, like that crazy scientist, I think it was Dr.
Who
Woodrow.
created Bane.
Yes, he is the Floronic Man, right? Also
Oh my
known
God.
as the Cedar, right?
Oh, god damn.
Yeah,
So that's why I
it's
couldn't
one of those
remember it 'cause
names
it
that
was
makes
just
you
like
go like,
Cedar was in my mouth. Ugh.
I just think that's the porniest name in the world.
And that's quite impressive for superhero name. Man. So they all roughly were right, but they were so wrong. Like Dr. Freeze is like a very intelligent, morally conflicted man because he'll do whatever he needs to do to save his wife. But there've been times where he stopped like his evil vendettas because he kind of saw what was wrong and Batman offered alternatives, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Batman. All Batman had to do was fund his research.
That's all he
Yeah,
wanted.
it would be fun.
That's all I want, right? So if I become a supervillain, I'm a PhD student. For that.
Yeah, a PhD candidate, I think, is the term,
Is it?
isn't it? Yeah.
It's a bit worrying that you know that and I don't. But anyway.
Yeah, Dan did make the argument that most of this movie is academics
All of
looking
it.
for funding for their projects.
I mean, that's why the guy created Bane, because funding was cut.
Yeah.
That's why Poison Ivy launches on the whole thing. She just wants funding for
And
her
also-
environmental research.
Yeah.
But my research is...
And while we're here,
Yeah.
Dan
Guys.
started a Kickstarter.
Welcome to our new Patreon. if you don't subscribe to our Patreon, Dan will start murdering people with malaria.
Yes.
So just be prepared.
He has weaponized it.
He's called Malaria Man.
He is
I'm studying cures to malaria. I'm not a psycho. Just
He has Mosquito Man.
I was thinking malaria.
I don't work with mosquitoes.
Malaria.
Super malaria.
Ooh, I like super malaria. Cue the Mario music.
You're my brother in on it.
I mean, the ice hockey scenes for me were my favorite.
Oh my god, it was.
I didn't believe Dan. Like as it was approaching, he was like, "Yeah, people play ice hockey in this." I was like, "Surely not, though, Dad."
And yet, yeah, we find ourselves watching it.
Was brilliant.
I was thrilled.
So like the origins of the characters were really great, and they all stemmed from the comics, and like Batman and Robin's friction that was all there, and then they took it in a different direction, not really well known or well,
especially because Barbara traditionally is Commissioner Gordon's daughter.
Yeah, but did you see Commissioner Gordon? He wasn't exactly.
Yeah, no.
He was the best
he was
Commissioner Gordon that we've ever had.
He sent all his men up the stairs. That scene broke me. And they all went, and he just kicks the one, and they all go like fucking.
All of the security guards in Gotham.
This is why we have a problem with supervillains, guys, because all the security companies are shit.
Well, we're saying to be a super person in Gotham, all you need to do is be competent.
And put some makeup on. I mean, that's how Joker gets away with it.
Because the security and police are
so
truly atrocious in this version.
No, dude, but through the power of neon, everyone was saved.
Yeah.
Lots of neon.
So much neon.
But remember, we got to take it all with a pound of salt, because it was in the 90s. I mean, it was late 90s, but it was in the 90s, and that was, from what I understand, very 90s. So,
that was incredibly 90s.
I mean, it was still shit.
Yeah.
But
can I say, I fucking died laughing at the line where Barbara shows up, she's in her costume, and she's like, "I'm Batgirl," and he's like, "You wouldn't want something more PC, like Batperson,
that was amazing.
Batwoman." I fucking died. I cannot believe that is a line in a 1997 movie.
They're very progressive.
It was a very progressive movie. Like, sure, they did the whole, like, crotch shot, boob shot, butt shot with her, but they did it with everyone. And then she berates Poison Ivy for using her feminine wiles to defeat people. She's like, she essentially tells her, like, this is why we can't have nice things. And it is wild.
But I mean, from Poison Ivy's point of view, you got one arrow in your quiver.
I would have really loved if that had become canon. So, like, Batman goes, "Oh, isn't that a little bit not PC? Shouldn't you be Batperson or Batwoman?" And she goes, "Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm gonna be Batwoman now." And that's canon. That's it. From then on, from 1997. This was a really fun time for DC, and I am a huge advocate for bringing back those ridiculous suits. Nipple suits.
No. Yeah. No. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, is Tim Burton needs to direct it again. Tim Burton needs to direct it, because Tim Burton is the only one who can pull off the fact that it's, like, kind of silly and kind of weird and, like, kind of goth in, like, a ravey kind of way. And Tim Burton's the only one who can pull it off.
Gotham was like some, like, D&D fantasy land with all the statues and the weird winding roads and the gangs. And
Lumo gang.
Yes, just sitting around in Lumo makeup.
And then they just flung off. And then they had the cool Mad Max bike ride that wasn't that cool.
The bike race.
And then they were hanging upside down by his foot.
I do love that Barbara
exercise.
Like Barbara just made friends immediately. She's just such a go-getter. You know, she steals a bike,
and then
she fucks off
She's
and
great.
goes and makes friends. And Dick Grayson's like, "I have the hots for you, but I want to protect you," like some weirdo. And she's fantastic, and she's from Clueless. That fits in.
I know. I love Elisa.
The whole her storyline. So she's just come back from school, and that's why she's with them. She came from the Clueless school to the Batman.
Yeah.
If that's a crossover, that would be amazing. That would make the movie.
And then she goes back to school, and then she's got this great suit with that accentuates her butt.
Oh my god, yeah.
And the cape.
What were your thoughts watching this movie?
I thought I was going to have a seizure.
There was a lot of
be a warning.
Right.
It is worse than most Japanese anime cartoon in terms of flashing lights. But I fucking... Like, it was a nightmare in terms of script, and it was a nightmare in terms of plot. But when you have a combination of so much neon...
was none.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger just being allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants, you cannot have a better movie that is so unbridled. And it's just fun to watch.
I was
Apparently you can, because it did terribly.
I was thoroughly entertained the entire time.
Yeah. Like I couldn't have watched half of it and then left because I would have to know how it ended, right? But yeah, this is why superhero movies won't take it seriously, right?
This
and then the 2000s came and we had like the Spider-Man with like Tobey Maguire, which I think
kind of. Yeah, I think it went.
First.
Look, it took a couple Spider-Mans to get us
still getting there.
We're still getting there. And then, as we discussed, Marvel nailed it. But this is why it took so long to do it, because no one took super movie seriously.
It's just so great. That's what's great about it, because in that time, superhero movies weren't serious.
Yeah, they were a little
and
silly.
They weren't this like massive grossing thing, and that's what made them great. I mean, what were your thoughts, Sim?
I mean, again, also like this is before we decided that superheroes were like really gritty, so it was just like it's just really fun. It's a stupid, fun movie. There's ice skating. There are puns galore. Nobody's taking themselves too seriously, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, like, I love how Poison Ivy not only gets all these superpowers, but she just also learns how to do makeup, like, really well. In a time before makeup tutorials, which is great. That's silly. I love it. I love that Barbara, who, like, was just really good at motorbikes, now knows how to fight really well because she put on a bat suit.
But
like,
she did say she had done a few judo lessons.
Which
gives her the moves.
Yeah, because judo's a lot of flying kicks.
I'm always reminded of scenes like that in Cannibal Shia LaBeouf. If you can do jujutsu.
Yeah. That's where she learnt it.
Yeah.
Dad, what were your thoughts? What was the most overarching thing for you?
It was just, it started off ridiculous and it finished ridiculously.
It did not.
So it stuck to its guns, and you got to give them that, right? They didn't. As Sim said, they didn't take it that seriously, but they had fun.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it gave what it promised in a way.
I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's so dumb.
I would have to, but I'd turn it into a drinking game. Every time there's an ice pun, you drink.
Or a plant pun.
Or a pun.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe not neon.
Yeah,
but,
you'd just be drinking continuously.
We would have your funeral then,
Yeah,
Chad.
then we would have my funeral. But I definitely think what I'll do is, because obviously when we all have kids, we're going to have to sit them down and make them watch the evolution of superhero movies. I think I'd probably start with this one. Just to really overload their senses.
Just to really knock them down.
Yeah.
And just be like,
that's a good point.
What I'd probably do, actually, I don't know if it would be a good idea, but basically I would either start with this one and then lead up all the way through the years until where we are now with Endgame, or I would make them watch everything else but this film and Endgame, and then go, this is where we started and this is where we finished. I just want you to appreciate the contrast between the two.
Yeah.
It is, to be fair, we are very lucky and privileged.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful time.
We're living in this amazing time.
Right?
This is the best time to live.
There was nerd culture back in the day.
You were like a fucking
really
weirdo
accepted.
if
That
you were
was like
obsessed with
goofy,
Batman.
stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a thing. So that didn't really help.
And now you're not a nerd at all, Dan. You're
No, I'm
just
a fucking huge
a
nerd.
normal guy.
But
You're actually really mainstream now.
How does
really
that make
what?
you feel?
Mainstream.
Mainstream. Nah, I've never been mainstream.
He plays X-Wing. He was on an X-Wing podcast. Let's
I
just
was a
put this in
guest.
perspective.
I had won a tournament and they called me, and I was like, did like a surprise interview. With them.
You're such
Dan
a
was
nerd.
a celebrity guest
He
on
was
an
a
X-Wing
celebrity
podcast.
nerd.
I earned that call, and then they hung up on me halfway through my bat rip. So whatever.
Can I do a lightning round of Mr. Freeze quote?
Okay, please.
Yes.
I wish you would.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right, here we go. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Not even
Let-
true.
Not even close. What kind of?
Let's kick some ice. That doesn't even make sense.
Well, what was it?
I don't understand. Let's kick some ice.
Maybe it's an ice hockey reference. Oh no, it's let's kick some ass, but ice. But
Yes,
it's really
that's the point.
vague and
I hate it.
innocuous.
Yeah. Cool party. That's
Yeah.
just like a nice thing to say. Mercy, I'm afraid my condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy. Again, you're just describing yourself. Stay cool, bird boy.
Uh-huh.
Again, just using cool. Like that could be a really good t-shirt as well. Stay cool, bird boy.
You've got the voice down though, dude.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
perfection.
Allow me to break the ice. My name is Freeze. Learn it well, for it's the chilling sound of your doom. That may be my favourite one because it's the longest one.
It's beautiful.
Does he not say chill out at any point?
I think he does, for sure.
When he shoots someone.
Let's see.
Did you just look up a list of every single ice pun?
Yes, I do.
surprised.
Yes.
See, like
Yes.
in the comics, Mr. Freeze would never make ice puns, really. Or maybe he does. But he's very
In
cold and calculated.
in Suicide Squad, it's Salt on Arkham.
Oh,
I think
yes, Killer Frost makes
Killer
ice
Frost,
water.
she goes,
Yeah.
gives me the chills, and someone's like, really? Ice puns?
That's amazing.
You want a good
That's
Suicide
so good.
Squad movie?
Assault on Arkham.
Especially if you play the
There you go.
games, because it's set in the same universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys, as I just saw this quote now, and I'm gonna say it because it will be my final quote, and then I want to know if it's true or not.
Oh, I love this game.
In this universe, there's only one absolute. Everything freezes.
I mean,
Is that true?
guess.
And is that only one absolute, and that is that absolute?
I mean, there are a lot of absolutes in life. Famously, death and taxes.
Well, it's an absolute zero joke, I guess, right?
I guess.
oh, I didn't even think
Zero
about that,
colon.
Yeah.
and I don't think
Which is
the
the coldest
the,
you can
the director
get.
thought of that.
I mean, I guess everything freezes at some point.
I don't know. I don't know if Arnie was going to that depth,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But it's definitely not the only absolute.
No, we're more likely to go up in flames and then get very cold.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing left.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So thank you for indulging me in my round of ice puns. I
No,
appreciate
it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Beautiful. Great. I loved it.
It should be called the lightning round, though. It should be like
the
Oh,
freezing
yeah.
round.
We need the ice pun in there.
The slippery slope into madness, and it's slippery because it's covered in ice. So, scenes that could have saved it. What are we thinking?
Nothing. It was a perfect movie.
I have no idea. I don't know. Like, there's not one moment. It's like all of. That's what I say. They went.
whole movie
all
is a
in.
mess, yeah.
Right? They were like, "This is what we're doing, and we're gonna fucking do it. Get on board."
Yeah.
All right, no one's on board. Shit.
Yeah.
So they didn't do anything wrong. They just what they were doing was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Does
absolutely.
that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I can't think-
You're not wrong. You're 100%
Nothing
right.
there was like off the tone.
No, they doubled down on the tone, and they were like,
Mm.
"This is it. This is what we're doing." And I completely
Hey.
agree with you. And I also don't have a scene that could have saved it. I mean, even down to the
Thank
point
God.
of the two observatory scientists who were
Oh my god,
joined
those
in
poor
with
scientists.
it. And those two scientists were so funny as well. They were just like, "I don't get paid enough to do this," and then died.
It's like one of these
Which is
days.
accurate.
You know, so yeah, I completely agree. This movie in itself, isolated, exclusive to the universe, isolated,
Oh, fuck
exclusive. That was Dan. That wasn't
Fuck
me.
no.
Exclusive of the entire rest of humanity and movies. This movie is perfect because it does exactly what it says it does, like Dan said.
So if you go in expecting like a serious, gritty superhero movie, you'll
I
be
mean-
disappointed. Right? But if you go in looking for something fun and ridiculous and very 90s and over the top,
It's so
Yeah,
90s.
you'll
so
enjoy
90s.
it like Sim has. And I enjoyed it.
I was thrilled the whole way through.
Yeah, it was delightful.
So fair enough.
Yeah,
But it wasn't Batman. I mean, I didn't recognize the Batman. That's why we didn't feel anything for George Clooney's Batman.
yeah. This Batman
just-
was not a thing.
It was just no, it wasn't there.
All right, let me tell you about this director,
Please, I must
Who
know.
directed it?
Joel Schumacher.
Oh, right.
Oh, was
yeah,
it Michael
yeah.
Schumacher's brother?
No.
I have no idea who this guy is, so I will tell you what movies he's done. St. Elmo's Fire,
Classic.
The Lost Boys,
Classic.
Flatliners.
Classic.
St. Almost Fire song.
Oh my god, he did Seal, Kiss from a Rose version 1. That's it. I don't need to know anything else. This guy is the perfect director.
I'm not going
He's
to
a
sleep
great
tonight because
director.
that song's gonna be stuck in my head.
We can't sing any more bars, we'll get sued. But
No.
I mean,
I'm just reminded that scene from Community.
Yeah.
Where he tricks Jeff into singing.
it's perfect.
Like I listened to that and I kept waking up with that song stuck in my
It's
head.
amazing. Every time
It was a problem, guy.
my family
But it was beautiful.
my family love trivia, so we're often going, "Did you know?" to each other. So if someone goes in our family, they go, "Oh, did you know?" We'll immediately just go, "When it snows, my eyes become white," and it's a thing, and it's horrible. He also did Phantom of the Opera, so I mean, the dude has diversity.
Right, I
Which
forgot.
The dude has range. So I would definitely say, like we said, this is not a bad movie. They made an artistic choice, and they stuck to it, and they did it perfectly.
Yeah.
So I feel this on an emotional and spiritual
Yeah,
level.
not a bad director. I mean,
No, not a bad director.
The Lost Boys is a classic movie.
Phantom of the Opera is, and Batman Forever
Fine.
is.
I mean,
like
uh,
what? He's a great guy, and I'm behind him on this.
Now that we know who he is.
Yeah.
He was one of the producers for Transformers, I think.
Oh wow. Okay.
You can correct me on this, but
You
I'm
guys
pretty
done it.
sure.
Fair enough. So right.
So I was thinking, instead of saying what we're like the movies we're looking forward to and what's going to podcast, shall we have a discussion on the future of Batman movies?
Yes. Let's do that. I like that plan.
Because as we know, Robert Pattinson is being cast as the next Batman.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, Dan?
Well, what do you guys feel? Because
I'm cautiously optimistic. I think he looks like a much younger, suaver Batman. He's been in really good indie movies
lately. Yeah.
I think he gets a bad rap for Twilight, even though it's like, wow, he's playing someone with a secret identity.
Yeah.
That is bat related. Like, but I'm just saying, like,
he's got all these powers and abilities.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even
exactly.
see
Like,
that.
oh wow, he has to hide the fact he has super strength. That's so weird. Like, so it's not like it's unusual.
My mind has just been blown.
That is great.
He was born for this.
But like, he's a really good actor, and he's very handsome.
Which is actually a prerequisite.
Yeah, you have to be
yeah.
handsome to play
like
Batman.
That's why John Hamm would be perfect.
And charming.
John Hamm.
Okay.
But yeah, no, so we're saying, and you've heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen, from our dearest podcaster Simone, that there is no difference between Edward Cullen and Batman.
No, I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm saying there
exactly
are
what
a
you're
lot
saying.
of
Edward Cullen, the character from Twilight. So
I'm just saying there are a lot of earth-shattering similarities.
that is quite the coincidence, and I dare you to fight it. But so I don't actually know much, right? I don't think I've seen a single one of his movies. But he's a famous actor, and he's been very successful, even though. And it wasn't his fault that was the Twilight story.
Exactly.
Dead honest. So back off.
We can't hold Twilight against him.
I'm optimistic. So I'm upset Ben Affleck didn't work because
he was a great Batman.
I think people were a little too hard on Ben Affleck.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault.
And I hope Robert Pattinson knows what he signed up for, because as we were saying, there's a lot of pressure on the Batman role, and it hasn't been doing well, so it's going to be doubled down on.
Yeah.
So whatever he does is probably not going to be well acclaimed, even if it's amazing, because people are already in.
But again, people were so skeptical about Heath Ledger taking on a role as the Joker. Everybody was like, oh, he's like a rom-com star, like he'll never do the Joker well, and then he did really, really well.
Yeah.
So, I think let's give Robert a chance.
No, I mean, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I think they should double down on it. And so, opening scenes, Superman's back, and Wonder Woman's there, and Cyborg Boy is there, and Flash is there, and they're all hanging out.
He's just Cyborg.
Cyborg, whatever. And they're all hanging out, and Robert Pattinson comes through as Batman, and they all go, "Who the fuck are you? What is this?" And they all start freaking out, and they're about to kill him, and there's like, "Guys, it's me, it's Batman, I've been here forever." And then he like turns to the camera and winks, and then they're all like, "Oh, of course, yeah, it's Batman."
No, Chad. No, you're just giving Zach ideas. Alright?
Yeah.
No, what I think they're going to do is they're going to do the Flashpoint paradox.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm worried they're going to rush it, because they want to get the new Batman in.
Right.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, they're not, because he's supposed to play Batman in the Batman that's coming out.
He's playing a much younger Batman.
No, he will.
Obviously.
So, and then reset the whole timeline.
Right.
Yeah.
With Pattinson.
And get rid of the Zack Snyder movies. So, like, go back and...
Yeah.
So Justice League never happened. But Wonder Woman's still there, Aquaman's still there, everything's fine.
Yeah.
And then you reset it and you start up again. Yeah. I think that's the best
I
hope
that's the way
they've learned their lesson. And there's, actually, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with trying stuff and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Right? Because they funneled a lot of money into that.
Yeah.
And they're still going at it, which is great. Because at the end of the day, we don't want them to stop making these movies.
No.
Yeah.
It would
we don't
be
want
really,
just
really
Marvel
sad.
movies. It'd be nice to see DC. Yeah, right? We love... Some of the DC characters are cooler than Marvel characters.
There's also a couple people, well, I think it's mostly fans saying that they want Michael Keaton to come back as older Batman.
Ooh.
I'd
be about that.
So
because he's so old now.
Do you know Batman Beyond?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a picture of him. It's Terry McGinnis is the future Batman, and then Michael Keaton is like old Bruce Wayne.
That's cool.
It was like Robert Pattinson playing that role.
That'd be cool.
And then I was like, oh, don't do this to me. They said it, and now I want it. But,
I want we just want Michael Keaton to come
back. That's all we want.
Maybe one day.
Or Val Kilmer.
I'll take
Val Kilmer.
Yeah, but we need to get this Batman right before you can even think about it.
Exactly.
So,
It's going to be tough, but I think he can do it.
Also, it also very much depend on the success of the Joker movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
This year.
Yeah.
I'm very excited
I don't know what the story is going to be.
That's going to be great.
I hope so. I really do.
Yeah.
Because Jared Leto is a fucking shit show.
Also very excited about, I don't know if you've seen the trailer for Brightburn.
No.
Oh, it looks so good. It's
it's
basically
that's
like
it's the
Superman origin story.
Oh,
yeah. And then, but like he's like a
James Gunn.
Yeah, it's James Gunn.
I love. So DC's very good at creating
gonna be
these
insane.
alternate dimensions where you have the classic story, but they've tweaked it, and it's usually more murderous
Yeah.
So dark.
and dark. And,
I'll show you
and
the
then
trailer
it's
for
like, it's
It's gonna be
okay,
crazy.
it all goes
That's
to
gonna be
shit
good.
because we have the
Yeah.
normal timeline.
It's just an
It's gonna be
alternate.
So yeah, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Well, there we have it. We did it
Yeah.
again. Thank you so much for joining us, Dan. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. I hope I didn't blab on too much.
No.
That's what editing is for.
Yeah.
Bye. So.
You'll have like a 5-minute speech, and that's all we'll hear about you.
You sound like the X-Wing podcast.
So Simone, before we go, what film are you doing next week?
I will be going back into our fine tradition of covering video games that have been made into movies.
Oh, exciting!
And I will be doing Hitman on Dan's suggestion.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Is it Agent
Hitman.
47 or Hitman?
No, it's just called Hitman.
Bad.
I really enjoyed it when I
No.
first watched it, but I
No.
feel like on second viewing, I'm gonna regret it.
I watched it on the plane on like last year,
Yeah.
and it was one of those bad movies where you watch it and you have to know how it ends, but it's like
It's such a good
I
plane
have to-
movie, though.
No,
Like, you
it
don't
was a
have
good
to
plane
focus on it.
I haven't seen it. We made the executive decision to go see 30 Days of Night instead of Hitman,
Oh, nice.
and I think I made the right
I
decision.
haven't seen it.
Classic, yeah. Wasn't Josh Hartnett in that? And it was, like, really good.
I can't remember any of the
You know,
actors.
it'd make a great Hitman, Chad. John Hamm.
John Hamm would make an excellent
John
Hitman.
Mann.
You'd have to go bold though. Would that affect?
John Mann is a lady killer, and he's stolen my
Oh,
heart.
He needs to keep his hair.
Clearly.
What movie are you doing?
Right. So classically,
Oh boy, I'm gonna be so angry.
you
I
might
can
be.
just feel it.
It's gonna be atrocious.
So classically, I've gone on a rampage and attacked a lot of Ben Stiller films.
Adam Sandler. You get him confused all the
Sorry,
time.
every
They're
fucking
the same person. Fuck's
Yeah.
sake. Fine.
I've
Do you honestly-
Adam Sandler attack. I've decided now to put Adam Sandler to bed, and we're gonna now move on to a new
Oh, thank
generation.
fuck.
I enjoyed 51st Date.
Wait, no. Who are we moving on to?
Adam Sandler, 51st Date was decent.
Fuck off. No, we're not talking about Adam Sandler.
And
We're not
I
giving him any
enjoyed
more
Grown
airtime.
Ups as well.
Fuck off!
Adam Sandler's gone to bed, and we are now entering a new age.
No, but what
Wait.
about... Wait, last one. What's it, The Last Yard?
This isn't your podcast. The Longest Yard is
Yeah, this is
arguably the
agreed.
best Adam Sandler movie.
We
We
agree.
know.
Okay,
We agree.
I'm sorry. I had to...
Christ.
Simone is getting stressed out now because she knows something bad's
I can't.
coming.
I can't. Who are we covering, Chad?
so guys...
What's in the box?
We are now.
This isn't part of the podcast.
We are now moving into the age of Mike Myers, ladies and gentlemen, with Love Guru.
I'm so angry.
That's a beautiful choice.
That was the best build-up ever.
I think you broke Simone.
I've never watched this movie. I never wanted to.
I didn't watch it either because Austin Powers.
Oh man,
Yeah, Austin Powers is objectively
Yeah.
incredible.
Love Guru is man. So be ready for this. We're
Awesome.
now entering a new age, ladies and gentlemen. It's a new era.
God. Well, I was worried that you were going to go Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh man,
route, and I just wasn't ready.
that's age 3.
He is now.
That's the next age. Once we're done with Michael Myers.
Got a long list of crappy comedy films.
great. Awesome. I'm so happy.
So,
I'm dead inside.
so where can the people find you, Dan? Where can you be found
Me?
on the socials of the medias?
Or if you don't want to be found,
I'm
that's
not
okay.
really on a social.
No,
media.
he's not a
I have,
social man.
The Instagram, but I've made 2 posts in the last year.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, Scientist Dan. But if you send me messages, I'll probably get them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Slide into this
or
guy's DMs.
Send them to the Facebook page, with your guys' Facebook page.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
Now, let me
pass
know
on
if,
any
if
messages.
I'm wrong or right, or if you enjoyed
Yeah.
me.
Oh, we loved you.
Otherwise, you'll find me trapped in my lab.
So if you want to send down any messages through us, you can go to our Facebook or Twitter pages at It's Not That Bad One or Instagram at It's Not That Bad Podcast. Or you can email us at itsnotthatbad@gmail.com. Or you can look at me on Instagram at simone.ellie.rux for pictures of my food and cats.
It's perfect.
I might be in there.
Yeah, and Dan.
Dan.
Dan, yeah, you're somewhere on my Insta.
Sure, probably.
Yeah. And where can the people find you?
I love that. You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at chatsby1993. That's CHADSBY 1993 for pictures of my food and my relationship with Halo Top ice cream in particular. And you know, thank you for listening. Give us a subscribe. Give us a like. You know, leave us a rating. We always appreciate it. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. There's always room to improve. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
You have to say it too.
Yeah, you can do it too, Dan.
Yeah.
I've never said those words before.
It's just...
Oh, yeah. What do I say? We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
perfect. We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Goodbye!
Goodbye!
Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.